this edition of Southern Newsweek. Volunteers in Gore and Matoda have been cleaning up after recent severe flooding. A new burger joint opens in Dunedin and there's no meat in sight. And an 18-year-old rower racks up the medals at the recent Masters Games. Kia ora, I'm Sophie Morris. Following recent floods, Gore and its surrounding areas have been in clean-up mode, and one farm equipment business says it's lodged an insurance claim likely to pass $1 million.
Clearing farm fences of flood debris after last week's flooding in the region. The Kane family farm in Tapanui felt the full force of last week's deluge of about 200 millimetres of rain over 36 hours. Floodwaters ripped up part of State Highway 90 near their house and damaged stock fences. Around 24 volunteers have come by to help with the clean-up, including Tapanui restaurateur Tama Szymanski.
Oh, it's just the community spirit thing to do, right? Like, these people, we get our meat from farms, the farmers come and eat at our place. And the Canes were in for dinner the other night, mentioned that they're busy, they could use a hand, and said I was free, so here we are.
Gore and its surrounding areas, seen here in the height of flooding last Wednesday, are now in flood recovery mode. One of the worst affected businesses in Gore was Agriline, a farm machinery product store south of Gore, and has lodged an insurance claim likely to pass $1 million, with welders, compressors and expensive farm machinery all ruined by the flood waters. Next door at Agri Centre South, Chief Executive Grant Price says his own store got off much more lightly, thanks to the quick response by staff.
To be honest, it happened pretty quickly. Well, the places were evacuated. At that stage, just before that, we had a couple of guys in the workshops that did a great job and whipped around and put a few of the electrical items up on the shelves and managed to put a few of the sales computers in the offices and that up.
However, the building itself will be needing some repairs.
Most of it is the building. Is just when you can see down on the edges down here, we're about, that's how it's gone through. So unfortunately it's starting to dry out and it is starting to warp a little bit, so we will need some remedy there, so yeah.
Like his neighbours, he's also in contact with his insurance company. We
just got the insurance company coming along today along with the builders, and they're always very good to work with, so you know, we'll look at that, and I think we'll turn it around in no time, have it back 100%.
A state of emergency remains in place in Southland, perhaps for another week. In Gore and Tapanui, the South today.
A young Dunedin chef is hoping to redefine the concept of fast food. Burger Plant recently opened its doors, serving vegan burgers and fast food staples.
From a stall at the OTAGO'S farmers market, a young Dunedin chef has turned his dream of owning his own fast food restaurant into a reality. Vegan burger store Burger Plant opened its doors this week in an old North Dunedin fish and chip shop to a line of keen vegans and curious carnivores. 21-year-old chef and owner Thomas White says the burgers and fries flew out the door on the first day.
It was crazy, yeah, we weren't actually expecting it to be as busy as it was. Obviously Elton John probably helped a wee bit, but like even today for lunch, we still did about 80 burgers, which is pretty good for what we were actually planning on doing. But yeah, it's just been going really, really well so far, and I hope it stays this way. The students aren't back yet, so we'll bring on the next couple of weeks when they get back.
White says his parents are highly supportive, although he appreciates the risk of moving into relatively uncharted food territory.
My granddad flew down from Auckland, helped in here for about a week, helped building. My mum has been absolutely incredible. So I obviously still been having to work to actually make an income so I could actually pay for this. So I've been doing both and coming here after work and working till late at night. My girlfriend's also been really helpful in the whole setup of the social media platforms and that kind of thing. She's been incredible. She's been helping out behind the scenes as well. Yeah, it's been a big family affair and had to try and get this thing open, and we managed to get it open on the exact date that we actually planned to open.
Vegetarian Lee Morris was lucky enough to try the first burger off the grill, capturing the moment with the selfie, then devouring.
Fantastic, really good. It just tastes, well, better than I could make myself, that's for sure.
White says his training and professional experience means the business is in good hands.
3 years of training. I've done a diploma in hospitality management at Polytech. That kind of got me more into the business side of things. And I've worked at quite a few places like Moieti, for instance, with Sam, and he was incredible in teaching me how to about a little bit more about business side of things as well.
He's not ruling out franchising the business, but says it's still early days. Burger Plant is the first fully vegan fast food restaurant in Dunedin, and the fourth entirely animal-free eatery in the city. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A highlight of this year's Masters Games was 80-year-old Barbara Sharp, who came to Dunedin hoping to break a world record. While she narrowly missed that goal, she did succeed in breaking 4 New Zealand records.
Putting in the hard yards at the Masters Games in Dunedin. Even at 80 years old, Barbara Sharp is smashing New Zealand records and coming within a hair of breaking world records.
Competing, I'm very competitive. I like trying to beat my times and other people's if I can.
Making it look easy, this is the second Masters Games for the Levin local, who was hoping to perform as well as she did last time.
First time was I got New Zealand records for my age group, and now because I've had a birthday I'm in the next age group, which is the 80-year-olds, and I'm planning on getting a few more records.
This year the rowing competition was held in Dunedin's Octagon in front of a lunchtime crowd. Sharp admits she doesn't train as much as she should, but says she likes to keep active.
I should do, but I go to the gym twice a week. I do walking and swimming twice a week, and I volunteer for the SPCA in Levin.
The octogenarian came up just short of the 500-metre world record. Her time of 2 minutes 9.1 seconds was 2 seconds shy of the world mark, but enough to break the national record. She attributes her fitness to her upbringing and outlook on life.
I think it's a good farming stock that I come from, but also positive attitude. You've got to keep doing things. You can't just sit back and think that life's going to, that's it. That's the end of life once you reach 80. So, no, just keep going, keep moving, keep exercising, keep eating well.
Despite not breaking the world record, Sharp had a very successful games, taking home national records in the 2,000, 1,000, 500 and 300 metre events. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A group of classic Austin 7 cars made a trek across the South Island last week. The South Today met up with a contingent on their way home.
Last week, Robert Trompeter's little white 1935 Austin 7 replica was just one of several Austins travelling sedately on the southern highways. Their journey started in Dunedin, taking them through Danzies and Arthur's Pass over to the west coast. Unfortunately, while on the coast, Trompeter's engine started sounding a wee bit harsh.
On the Sunday, after the bit of a look around Hokitika, we left just after lunch, and it got harsher and harsher, and by Franz Joseph I decided I wasn't going to drive it any further. So fortunately the backup vehicle was quite happy to give me a tow, and it's all gone really smooth and there's not a lot of traffic on the road, so we managed to tow quite safely.
Trompeter built this replica out of old parts about 40 years ago, and he's been taking it out on regular road trips ever since.
So yeah, we've managed to drive everywhere in it sort of style, Christchurch a couple times, swap meets up to Coronet Peak and to Skippers, and down south to Invercargill for rallies, and yeah, pretty much anywhere around the South Island.
Austin 7s typically come with a 700cc engine, meaning the vehicles are not exactly fast on the hills.
You got a 4-speed gearbox, so you just keep going lower and lower until it decides to continue going. So yeah, quite often, and say coming out of the Haas Bridge there, you might be lucky if you can get up in second. Maybe on a bad day you might be in first, but that's what it's all about.
For Trompeter, a road trip in an old Austin is quite different to touring in a modern vehicle.
It's strange, it's quite noisy and maybe a wee bit rattly, but it's quite a pleasant way of just quietly driving along the country and seeing the countryside. You're going slow enough to see everything, and you stop often enough to have a cuppa or talk with the locals, and people are always coming up to you to ask about your car or tell that I've already had one in the family years ago.
Once back home in Dunedin, he's planning to investigate what's wrong with the engine. In Makarora, the South Today.
Still to come on this edition of Southern Newsweek. Dunedin fishermen hauled up an unusual aquatic creature from Otago Harbour, and English rock royalty Queen played at Forsyth Bar Stadium to a mostly happy crowd. See you after the break.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Lana Castle is proud to showcase their new retail space. Simply purchase an annual garden pass for year-round access to the garden, cafe and gift shop, or apply for a host card giving you full access to the castle, ballroom, cafe, gift shop and garden when accompanied by a full paying guest. Check out the website for full terms and conditions.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
WRENS are OTAGO'S painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, WRENS is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call WRENS today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz. Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Welcome back. Gavin Cameron went out searching for salmon recently, but may have returned with a new pet instead. The Dunedin man was fishing in Dunedin's Steamer Basin when he spotted something unusual in the water, a freshwater turtle.
Not the sort of snapper he was looking for. Fisherman turned turtle rescuer Gavin Cameron was enjoying a typical day fishing for salmon at Dunedin's Steamer Basin when he saw an unexpected aquatic creature coming right at him.
Yeah, we were just fishing away there and the turtle just suddenly popped up coming towards us.
Cameron says the turtle was swimming on top of the water and swam over to him and his fishing line, almost like it was asking for help. It was the last thing he expected to see.
It is pretty unusual. I've never seen a turtle in the harbour before, so yeah.
He and a group of other fishermen managed to net the turtle and place it in a bucket of water before Cameron checked online and identified it as a red-eared pond slider. Concerned for the well-being of the freshwater reptile, Cameron made a call to the SPCA.
Hopefully they turn up pretty soon because, I don't know how long they could be out of water or whatever. Might have been someone's pet. So, it's not one that's normally in the sea, we don't know.
The inquisitive reptile is native to the United States and is a popular domestic pet, but it has a dark side. It's listed amongst the world's top 100 invasive species. The turtle was eventually taken away, and if no one claims it as a missing pet within a week, Cameron might just have a new pet. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The hum of motorbikes is a sound residents of Invercargill have become used to over the past 14 years for the Burt Munro Challenge. Each year the motorsport event sees hundreds of spectators and participants ride south for the 5-day event.
Visiting motorcyclists having a go at Invercargill's Teretonga Park racetrack, just one of the many events that was on offer to the hundreds taking part in this year's Burt Munro Challenge. Event chairman Craig Hyde says the Have a Go Day allows riders to open up the throttle in a safe environment, being led around the track by a leader.
We don't have carnage really on the Have a Go Day, but it's great that guys can come down for a rally, but they can enter that and they can come and ride their Harleys or whatever they like just around on a circuit. So it's actually good for rider training for them as well because they get to know their limits.
Hosted by the Southland Motorcycle Club, the Burt Munro Challenge included sprint races, speedway and street racing over this last weekend. Gary Mickelson from Edendale demonstrated the two-wheeled iron horse he's built from an almost random collection of antique parts. The stylish beast is powered by a Lister engine that had started life as a stationary engine in a shearing shed in the 1930s. And the seat was salvaged from an old farm tractor.
Just an old tractor seat I got out of the shed and gave it a sandblast and painted it. And she's a Triumph back wheel with Morris Oxford tyre on there and an AJS front wheel.
Even more eccentrically, the gearbox comes from a 1950s railway digger.
Well, you've got a reverse gear, and then you pull it back and you're up first, second and third to go forward. Awesome. Yeah.
Commentator Neil Ritchie has been on deck for all 14 years of the challenge and rates the Bluff Hill climb as his favourite part of the long weekend. This year saw more than 70 entries in 8 different classes from classic to modern motorcycles, with the fastest overall time by Richie Dibbon of Whanganui, who achieved 43.95 seconds on a bike in the up to 600cc class. Richie says weather can have a big influence on the results, and if it had been raining, the fastest time could easily have gone to a modified motocross bike.
And they're so well suited because they've got so much low down power, they really suit the hill climb as well. And on moist days that we've had here in the past, not too many luckily, but a motard bike has come out on top with the fastest time. And
Channel 39 will be broadcasting a half-hour documentary on the Burt Munro Challenge at 7 p.m. this coming Saturday. In Invercargill, the South Today.
1970s rock music royalty Queen played in Dunedin this week. The band's original lead singer Freddie Mercury died at age 45 in 1991, and former talent show contestant Adam Lambert has been hitting the right notes for nearly a decade.
Fans of the band Queen and frontman Adam Lambert were entertained on their way to Forsyth Bar Stadium in a very Dunedin fashion, with bagpipers playing just outside the venue. Street hawkers sold potentially unofficial merchandise on the popular walking routes to the concert. Inside the stadium, the excitement was palpable, with a roar going up as the curtain was raised and the band came out. Queen and Adam Lambert opened with Now I'm Here, delighting the crowd. During the show, Lambert acknowledged Freddie Mercury, paying tribute to the man who'd inspired him as a performer and whose role he now has in the band. The stage was as immaculately dressed as band members, sporting a lavish red and gold setup. The band delved deep into its back catalogue of hits, and the performance featured a hologram of former lead singer Freddie Mercury. It was a theatrical show of epic proportions, which pleased the crowd, and at a guess, the late Freddie Mercury would have approved of. In Dunedin, the South Today.
One of Dunedin's leading social service agencies says people are increasingly living in overcrowded houses and struggling to find accommodation in the city. And the housing crisis is only expected to worsen as a gap grows between those who can afford the skyrocketing rental prices and those who can't.
Not everyone is benefiting from Dunedin's current housing boom. Many renters are facing rent hikes or having to cram into already overcrowded properties as values in the city soar. The Salvation Army is one of the agencies tackling poverty at the coalface, and Community Ministries Manager David McKenzie says housing is the biggest issue facing the southern city.
The incredible pressure there is on Dunedin housing, the rise in house prices. We have organisations coming into the city associated with the hospital rebuild that are renting up everything they can get hold of.
McKenzie knows of one situation where 8 people have squeezed into a 3-bedroom house. He says overcrowding is becoming more and more common, And it's the most vulnerable who are suffering as incomes are squeezed.
Things still like child poverty, right at the bottom end, we're still not really seeing a shift.
The Salvation Army's just released its State of the Nation report, and part of Mackenzie's job is pushing for action on Dunedin's housing supply at a central government level.
The whole of New Zealand saying we want to do something about this. And you know, I would say personally the housing and child poverty are two really big things that we can make a difference as a nation.
His concerns are shared by the Dunedin Budget Advisory Service. Andrew Henderson agrees skyrocketing rents are already hurting low-income families.
Housing absolutely is affecting people, so there is a few things driving that, I think. So there's the increased sales of rental properties, so there's less stock in the city, but there is an increasing demand, so there seems to be more people coming into the city, whether that's from Auckland, maybe from central Otago, where it's really expensive to live now.
Henderson says the Budget Advisory Service is the busiest it's ever been.
In an average year we would have around 700 people come through our doors, and at any one time we're working with about 250 individuals and families.
Mackenzie says the rebuild of Dunedin Hospital will only exacerbate the problem, increasing demand on an already limited housing stock. Both the Dunedin City Council and the government have made housing a priority, but the city's property market shows no signs of slowing down, as the city's housing values have passed Christchurch for the first time this year. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek. We have a walk through an historic Oamaru homestead, and we catch up with a 75-year-old athlete fresh from conquering a gut-buster race. See you after the break.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life. WRENS are OTAGO'S painting, tiling and plastering experts, offering a free measure and quote. WRENS is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call WRENS today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Welcome back. A long-awaited section of the Alps to Ocean cycle track has finally been opened. Parts of the trail opened in 2016, with the final stretch between Aviemore Dam and Kurau not completed until now.
It's been a long time between drinks for the Alps to Ocean Cycle Trail Joint Committee, but finally an off-road section of the trail between Aviemore Dam and Kurau is now officially open. Committee Chairman Mike Nielsen says it has been a long time coming.
We have been down various dead ends, but as of last year finally obtained legal access to the entire length from Sailors Cutting to Duntroon.
Construction of the section includes 3 new bridges and started in 2017, costing about $720,000.
In 2015 an application was made directly to John Key for the purpose of getting the trail off State Highway 83.
Just before Christmas, the group received about $500,000 from the Ministry for Business, Innovation and Employment, after finally getting access permission from surrounding landowners.
A massive thanks goes to the landowners who have generously made their land available, starting from the Aviemore Dam and moving from west to east.
The new section of the trail has a smooth gravel surface and is classed a Grade 2 easy, meaning it is suitable for all cyclists. In Oamaru, the South Today.
The century-old Burnside homestead, just inland from Oamaru, now has a new owner. The historic home and its sprawling grounds are treasured by both locals and visitors, having been well tended by the outgoing owners since 1974.
This historic Burnside homestead, located about 17 kilometres inland from Oamaru, has been owned by Bruce and Alison Elberston for the past 45 years. It was built at the turn of last century by the eldest son of Otago businessman John Reid.
John Reid was a very well-known North Otago identity from 1860 onwards. He was one of the powerhouses of the frozen meat industry in the 1880s, built the second ship that went out of Oamaru for the frozen meat industry. So this was his place. And he brought his family here to the Burnside, which was part of Elderslie, and the eldest of the 12 children that he had, John Forrester Reid, built this house. And by 1900 they were living in it.
Since the mid-1990s, the Elberstons have operated the house as a low-key bed and breakfast. But with the advent of the nearby Alps to Ocean cycle trail, running the B&B has become an almost full-time business for the past 9 years. They've now sold the magnificent home, desiring something requiring a little less maintenance.
We've come to the point where after 45 years we've had a great innings, and we realise that at our age and just looking at the realities of managing and sharing the homestead as we have over the years, we'd rather let some other people enjoy that opportunity, and it's hard work.
He says the home's grand hall is large enough to put on a musical concert.
Where we're standing now, a great hall like this is really something you'd see in large houses in other parts of the world. In a relatively small 25-roomed house, you've got a remarkable hall that's as good for musical performance and sharing hospitality as anywhere you'd ever go.
The Elberstons are planning to use some of their newly acquired free time to travel to the North Island and Australia. In Oamaru, the South Today.
The Gutbuster race up Jacob's Ladder in the Dunedin suburb of St Clair is arguably one of the most testing events at the Masters Games. Competitors run straight up and then down the seemingly endless stairway in a well-run stampede.
What goes up must come down. And in the Masters Games Gutbuster, competitors run, walk or even crawl up and down the Jacob's Ladder staircase 5 times. 75-year-old Tom Cockerell has the honour of being the oldest competitor taking part and says he's fighting fit, and in some way he's been training for it his whole life.
Enjoying my age, it hasn't slowed me down by much. And I was brought up in the steepest street in the world. There's a gutbuster every day to get up the hill to go home.
Competitors assemble in Valpy Street and were let go in a staggered start. Their instructions were to treat the narrow staircase as a street and keep left. Cockerell says he took a methodical approach to the race.
Yeah, good. I just planned it to suit myself, so I didn't go out too quick at the start. And I'll finish up with muscle tears in my calves, but I'll ice them down and hopefully can wander around a bit tomorrow.
Placing third in the over 66 years category, the Gutbuster wasn't his only event or even medal at the Games.
I am 75 and this is my 16th event in 5 days, and I've came out with 16 medals.
The Masters Games in Dunedin wrapped up at the weekend with the competition in Whanganui for 2021 before returning to Dunedin in 2022. In Dunedin, the South Today.
That's all for Southern Newsweek. For the latest news from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.